500 when there's mud puddles and water puddles all over the place out there. So you could be slipping, sliding, peeping, and hiding if you don't be careful. So please be careful driving out there today and the next few days here, because we do have that pretty good chance of rain today, tonight, tomorrow night. Saturday we decreased to a 40% chance, and still another 40% chance on Sunday with cloudy skies. Just a wet week. The autumn overdose at 6.2 feet and falling. Currently here in southeast Georgia, 73 degrees. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Briggs Ford in Blackshear, by Jesup Premium Stores located out here on the Waycross Highway, and also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Got some giveaways coming your way soon, so keep tuned in here for your chance to win, including your chance to win a $20 gift certificate to Gooey's Pizza. But right now, we start with the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, and Bob, our guest, is here this morning.
Yeah, Mr. Bill Workhouse is in the studios with us. It's the election day, May 22nd, and he'll be at the Rotary Club today, along with his opponent, Delvis Dove, both going to speak. And Bill, always good to see you. Appreciate you coming in.
Well, always good to be here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, and it's really good to see you back. Glad to see you're doing better.
Yeah. Well, tell us what's the message today at the Rotary Club?
Well, I'm not sure they're going to allow both of us to speak, and just one more chance to let the voters know. First of all, turnout has been very, very low. We really need to get people out. You've got today and tomorrow for early voting, and of course the election is next Tuesday. Really need to get people to get out and vote.
Is there a Democrat in this race or not?
No, so this race is going to be over next Tuesday.
Right. So again, you've been up there in Atlanta. I guess you're banking on your record. So tell us why people should be voting for Bill Workheiser.
Okay, well, I think there's two main areas that we've been letting people know, and that's leadership and values. My opponent and I both have 4 years of service up there, so we have a very distinct, clear record of not only voting, but being able to get things done. And I've been fortunate, been very blessed to have a seat at the table with leadership. I meet with them every week, and that bodes well for our district when we need things. And as you know, we were able to accomplish a good bit, just like the flip of money. It takes a team effort, and myself and Chad Nimmer and Blake, we were able to get, work with those folks, and, it was years coming, but, just stuff like that, having a seat at the table is very important.
Again, the race, as you mentioned, is to be decided on May the 22nd, so, how's the voting district-wide? I mean, I know it's been slow here in Wayne County.
It has.
Still less than 1,000 votes right now.
Yeah, and Wayne is a little bit slower than the other two, and I really need to get Wayne out. So Evans is probably all three counties are behind. I represent Tatnall, Evans, and Wayne. Evans, but it's a smaller county, is about 60% of where they were this time last year. Of course, we still got 2 days left. Evans and Tatnall's a little bit behind, but Wayne is about 30% behind of where we were hoping they would be with early voting.
It's picked up a little bit this week, over 100 people the last couple of days. Maybe it'll be a good surge today and tomorrow, and hopefully a good turnout on Tuesday. But, this weather's not helping.
No, but again, I mean, you're talking about it takes 5 minutes, whether you do it today, tomorrow, or Monday. And it's probably not a good thing that we don't have lines, but it's one of the most convenient things you can do to have a voice in government. And, what's interesting, and, we always say this about races. We had a state rep just right next to here 4 years ago, won by 34 votes. And that's a state rep race representing 53,000 people. The Pennsylvania last week just elected their House members. They had 2 races, one by 4 votes and one by about 60 votes.
Now, we had a sheriff's race here in the 70s that was won by about 4 or 5 votes or 3 votes or somewhere along in there. So we've been known for some close races here in Wayne County through the years.
Yeah, so this is a chance. If you want your voice heard, now's the time to do it.
Again, if you just joined us, Bill Workhouse in the studios with us. Explain the district again. What all counties? Is it all of Wayne?
So I have all of Evans County.
All of Evans.
I have all of Tattnall, and then I have the top portion of Wayne, basically above 169. The interesting thing about that, if you look at the map, it looks like I have about 5 to 10% of Wayne County geographically. Interestingly, I have about 70% of the voters, and that's because...
So that must include Jesup, then.
So I have pretty much all of Jesup.
So 70% of the voters in Wayne County are directly represented by you.
Yes, sir.
And then the other 30% by Chad, but y'all been working so close together for the last 4 years. The people in Wayne County actually had 2 representatives up there.
Yes, sir, and that's one thing that's been good with working with Chad. If somebody from Wayne County calls us, we don't say, well, where do you live? What side of the highway you on? We figure if you're from Wayne, you belong to us. And so I think that's worked well, and it really gives you double the representation if you need something.
Okay, State Representative Bill Werkheiser this morning. Now, one of the things that you've been talking about as you've been campaigning are the endorsements that you have received from leadership in Atlanta and from area-wide. You want to talk about those?
Sure. We'll start at the very top. The Governor Deal has endorsed me, the Speaker of the House. There's 118 Republican House members, and I've got 108 of those who have put their name beside mine. I had an event here a couple of weeks ago, and most of the elected officials here, community leaders.
That was a whole slew of people on that thing.
Yeah, and that's very humbling. I know that can go the other way and make you prideful, but it's very humbling when people. And I told them, because the Bible says your name is your riches, and so I don't take that lightly when someone is willing to put their name beside you, put their reputation beside yours, and say you're the guy for our area. So it's been very humbling.
Why do you think that so many of the local leaders in the Wayne County, Tattnall County, Edmond County area have endorsed you for this re-election? Because you got quite a few of them that I've seen on record.
Yes, sir. And again, I think it goes to record. I guess anybody running for office can say what you want them to hear, but I have a 4-year record of not only getting things done in Atlanta, but down here, and I've been very involved. One of the things I've told people is, I was in public service for 30 years before I ever decided to run for office. Was very involved in chambers and Rotary clubs, and usually end up being in a leadership position there. So it's just kind of my passion. I like civic opportunities and doing that. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to sell my business, and as things were winding down, my wife and I decided, well, this would be a good time to maybe do public service in a different way. And so we were also, as our kids, we've got 4 grown children, and 3 of them are married, and we were living on 70 acres, and when I was in Atlanta, that's a lot to upkeep. My wife was spending half a week on a tractor cutting grass and stuff. So we sold that, and we moved to the middle of the district on a cute little house on a pond. And so on the bigger track, I had a place to hunt, but couldn't fish. And now I can walk out my back door and fish, but I can't hunt. And so it's a lifestyle. We love South Georgia. And so when we were looking for a place, we said, this is where we want to spend our years. We love South Georgia, and...
So you say you did sell your business, so
yes,
being a representative takes up most of your time now?
Yes, sir. And in fact, I was joking with Senator Jack Hill a few years ago when I was going through that process, because he ended up selling his business after a few years of service. And I jokingly said to him, they forgot to tell me in orientation, you can't own a business and serve in the legislature at the same time. It's tough. And that was one of the primary reasons for Chad Nimmer. He's got young kids. He's got a business. It's a huge commitment. It's a lot of time on the road. You're spending 3 months in Atlanta. You do get to come home on weekends, but it's a team effort, and that's one of the things that I waited till my kids were grown, because a lot of people assume, because of my civic involvement, that I would run for office, and had that opportunity 4 and 8 years ago, and And I always told people, I said, I'm going to wait till my kids are grown and out of the house, and it's worked out good for me. My wife's a travel nurse, and in fact, she even got to live with me in Atlanta this past session, so that was a lot of fun.
Okay. You got all these endorsements, you got all these records, the attack ad that's being run. Do you have anything to do with that?
No, and I'm a little disappointed that I was, obviously proud to have the endorsement of the Georgia Chamber, and I guess they do that for a reason. They don't tell us so that you can say, you don't have anything to do with it, and I didn't. I was as surprised as anybody to see the postcards, and I talked to the guy yesterday, Kyle Jackson, the political director for Georgia Chamber, and I said, I don't think you're helping me. And so, we've run a very clean campaign. I always have. I had an opponent, 4 years ago, and that's just,
So you weren't informed in advance that the Georgia Chamber were running these, and it's just not only for this representative spot, but it's also for several of them throughout the state that the Georgia Chamber has purchased for ads. I don't know if you call them attack ads or negative ads or whatever. There's more than just the one.
Right. So apparently they've gotten involved in 5 races, and mine is one of them. I guess if they're, the positive side of that is they've seen my voting record. They want somebody who's pro-business. And, the legislature, we're all citizen legislators. So, you've got attorneys, you've got retired people. It's hard to get business people in there. Like I said earlier, it's hard to run a business and lead your business for 3 months. So they like it when they've got somebody who's got 30 years business experience. And
so you have the endorsement of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, then, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions here that were texted in to us? Text us at 912-427-3711. Let's see. Why would the PAC spend all that money on ugly flyers against what do they expect from you?
Well, I think I just answered that.
You did. We were unaware of it.
Yeah, I was unaware of it, and
what's my concern, if I was you, like I said, it's funny how advertising is, but the ad I heard that we're running on mayor, they mentioned his name like 12 times. They don't ever mention your name. So
I didn't know they were doing radio ads.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just the two postcards.
No. That's the reason why I said they sent us this.
We're running
wow.
Yeah, they sent us an email and had all the stations on there and the different the different districts that the ads were against, per se. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
The Georgia Chamber did that, and when we received it from the ad agency, they just sent us a whole slew of all the different stations they've purchased, and we had to go by ours and hit click, and there was the ad that we're running, and other stations throughout the state are running other ads for other state representative districts.
Okay, gotcha. Didn't see. Again, I didn't know that. But to answer that question, what do they expect? I don't think in its expectation, except that they're getting. It's just like it's no different than locally. The majority of my money has come from individuals, and so I don't know that they expect anything. My whole life I've contributed to other leaders, people I want to see, represent me, and so I don't think it's an expectation. It's just that it's showing who they support.
Okay, Georgia Chamber of Commerce, one of these ads show their support or their non-support, or support for someone and non-support against someone else. The first questions that were texted here: what is the need to have a representative that has fiscal qualifications at the Capitol?
What do you mean fiscal?
Okay, that's just what it is. What is the need to have a representative that has fiscal qualifications at the Capitol?
Fiscal or fiscal?
Fiscal.
Fiscal, like monetary.
Monetary. Yeah,
okay.
Not physical. Fiscal.
I'm not sure the question is.
Okay.
Maybe it's.
Yeah, sometimes when a person asks the question, you don't know exactly what they mean by it. From what I get from it is, I get from it, why do we need somebody up in Atlanta that looks after our dollars?
Oh, well, that's one of the most important things we do. Constitutionally, the only thing we're required to do is to pass a balanced budget. And so, again, I think having someone who's got 30 years of successful business and has lived within their means. All of us have to live within our means, I guess, unless you run up a credit card or something. But, I think that's the importance of someone who has successfully run a business and understands that. Is, a large part of what we do is where we're parking our money. Where, we in Georgia, we see education as a priority. Nearly 60 cents of every dollar we put in the budget is for education. So just like us personally, where you put your money is where your heart is. The Bible says that. So, where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. So I think it, personally, all the way to business, to the capital, it matters.
Okay, the other two-part question of that, what is the value to Wayne County to have two representatives with a voice in Atlanta? Is it important to have our representatives work together with these state leaders?
Yeah, so, and that's the age-old question, because Wayne County was split several years ago. And, I was at the Liars table 2 years ago, and that was our main discussion, like, are we better having one or two? And it's like Pepsi or Coke. You can argue it all day long, but I'll tell you from what most of the people, said that day is they like the fact that there's two of us. And just like with Chad, you had someone in the governor's office as a floor leader. He's a House member, but he was a floor leader for the governor. And so he met with him almost on a daily basis. And then I was in the legislative branch, so to speak. We're both in the legislative branch. But I had a very good relationship with the speaker. And so that just gave you two opportunities, like I said, because one thing people don't realize, we've got nearly 900 measures that are dropped every year. We only vote on about 400. The governor only signs 100. So those 900, everybody's pushing for their agenda. So to have two people fighting for you, one in the executive branch and one in the legislative branch, matters. And that's why it takes all three, because, even with Chad and I, we could have the best ideas and the, best motives in the world. But if we don't have somebody in the Senate like Blake Tillery to help us get the measure across, because it's not that hard to get something out of the House. Then the hard part becomes getting the other chamber, because now you're late in the session. You better have somebody you can work with and is going to fight for you. And we've been very fortunate to do that.
Okay, State Representative Bill Werkheiser in here with us this morning, here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Somebody just also texted in, thanks, Bill, for what you've done and for fighting for Wayne County. And then another one text in says, your opponent is saying you're going to take an appointment in the next 2 years. Do you plan on leaving the district?
That's funny. I'm glad that was brought up. Like I said, my wife and I just bought a house closer to the middle of the district. That was our biggest reason for decision. We had lived in Evans County for 17 years, but it was a little bit of a distance to get to Jesup. So we said, let's move to let's move to Glenville. I can be anywhere in the district in 30 minutes. I am not looking at an appointment. The Speaker of the House came down a couple of weeks ago to do an event for me, and we joked about that.
And his name is?
Speaker David Rawson. And either he or the governor, I guess, arranges that. I don't know, because I haven't checked into it. I'm not looking to go anywhere. I enjoy doing what I do. I'm not looking for a Senate seat. I'm not looking for a congressional seat. This is not a stepping stone. It's the only office I've ever run for. I really like what I do, and a lot of people ask me, well, how long are you going to do it? My best guess is 6, 8, or 10 years. I'm thinking 8 years from now. That's probably long enough for someone to be in public office.
I know that when the Speaker of the House, David Ralston, called in a couple of weeks ago to talk about different issues throughout the state and locally and so forth, and he brought this up on his own. It wasn't a question that we asked here from Big Dog Country Radio during the Butch and Bob Show. We didn't refer to any candidate in any type of way, but he's the one who brought it up. He gave you a great endorsement over on the radio. He just brought it up himself. No questions were asked. He just talked about all the different events, and then as he got toward the end of the interview, he talked about his endorsement of you, Speaker of the House, David Ralston did.
And I think that's important because he's the one. Not only does he set the agenda, but he makes the appointments. He's the one that puts you on the committees where you serve. And again, he's put me on industry and labor. He's put me on communications. I'm on public safety. We hear all the gun bills, for and against. And so, last year he appointed me to industry and labor. And we had about 17 of us elected the year that I went in the office. And to this day, I'm the only one of that group that's been appointed to a committee. Usually that goes to someone who's been there a lot longer. So having the confidence of him is very important. To go back to what I was saying earlier, Senator Tillery had an issue. It was very late in the session. There's about 2 hours left in the session, and they're literally. It's 10 p.m. There are literally. I've looked at the sheet. There's like 150 bills, and you're only going to get to 30 of them. I was able to go up to the speaker and say, "This is really important for our area," and he literally went and got the guy who was presenting the bill, and it was the very next bill brought up. I mean, think about that. He's got 180 people begging him for stuff, and for him to stop the agenda at 10 o'clock at night and say, well, if this is important to you, it's important to me. That's got to be great for Wayne County.
Okay, someone also just texted in here, and I was unaware of this. I know that this question was asked to State Senator Blake Tillery by text when he was on the Butch and Bob Show before. It says, 2 candidates for governor are supporting eliminating the income tax. Do you? Are there 2 candidates? I know one of them is. I didn't know there's 2. And what's your thoughts and feelings on that?
Yeah, that's a mixed... First of all, we did lower the tax rate for the first time in Georgia history, and I'm glad to be a part of that. I don't know, because I want to give a fair, honest answer, and that's easy to say, let's just get rid of the state income tax. But if you do that, that money's got to be replaced by something. And so it's got to come from somewhere. And with Georgia having one of the most conservative, fiscally responsible, lowest tax rates. I mean, think about this. For the last 5 years in a row, we've been voted the #1 place to do business. We have gained 600,000 private sector jobs in the last 8 years. That's because we already have a low tax rate. So it would be easy for me to sit here and say, yeah, let's do away with that, because that's the politically expedient thing to say. But if you do that, it's got to come from somewhere. You cannot take, 35% of our budget's income and just say, okay, we're going to do away with that.
Yeah, well, you can see other states that don't have state income tax.
But they have.
But they have higher gas taxes.
Yes.
They have higher utility taxes. They make it up in other ways.
It's got to come from somewhere.
So it's just where some. But you did say that the tax rate for the citizens of Georgia for their income was lower this year. Did you say that?
Not only is it lower, we doubled the standard deduction. And so that's going to cause a lot of people not to have to itemize, or even if you weren't itemizing, it doubled the deduction. So that's dollar for dollar. So
of course, that'll start for next year's taxes.
Yeah, next year. So that's going to put more money in the pockets of every single Georgian.
Okay.
Bob? About you're accessible. You come to all the X and issues, all the post-legislative luncheons. You always give your email and phone number out. So that's one thing people can say about you. You've been accessible to the district and looked after the district. You got a lot of credit for the flip-up money. The flip-up was a big issue, and finally got that resolved statewide, not only here locally, but statewide. It got resolved. So explain how all that got resolved.
So, and I think, again, that's a clear record I have. I don't have to campaign on that. People, if anybody's ever emailed me and they're from Titan Evans and Wayne, they're going to hear back from me, even if they're mad. I'm going to return calls, and so I have a 4-year record of being accessible. I mean, there's a lot of legislators, because of the volume of emails we get, they don't answer them. And I just feel like if someone is taking the time to email or call, they're going to get a call back. And so I just feel like that's part of my job description. I never thought that it wasn't. I guess it never gave me a second thought. And that's one thing. And, we're talking about the community endorsements. People like that. I mean, and not only the legislative stuff that we're required to come to, I'm down here every week. This is my third trip to Jesup this week, and I'm coming back to the football game Friday night. So I've been here 4 of the 5 days this week. And that's not just during campaign session. Again, anybody can do that during campaign session. I'm here when we're not in session. And, I like coming to chamber events. I like coming to ball games. I just love the community sport, the way they get behind, the baseball team, the football team. I mean, I just love seeing that. And, the baseball games here are exciting. And,
boy, are they.
Yeah, it's fun. And I look forward to coming to the scrimmage game Friday night. And so it's just a great atmosphere. And I think that's, part of, I guess it's part of my makeup. I believe being involved in the community. And like I said, it's not something I ever planned. I just, for 30 years, I've just been very involved in all my communities.
All right, State Representative Bill Werkheiser in this morning. Another question text in. Is there anything coming down the line with Common Core? I don't know what they're talking about, but I guess.
Well, it's an education. I don't think so. Not in Georgia. And again, Georgia's been very conservative. We're one of the best states. I just got a booklet this week. It says where your state ranks, and it just took so many issues. And yes, we've got some work to do on education. We need to let our teachers teach and quit, spending half their time doing paperwork, and which obviously they can't do during the classroom hours. So we're just putting an extra heavy load on them at night. But I don't think there's any danger of Common Core.
Okay. Another question text in. Well, actually, it's not a question. It's a positive comment about you there, here, Bill. Bill does listen to people with issues and helps answers. And let me do this again. Bill does listen to the people with issues and helps and answers every email and call. So what they're saying is you do listen and you do respond.
As soon as I leave here, I've got 5 other appointments before lunch, and one of them is a guy that is in none of our district. He's in another rep's district, and they were told they had a problem with state issue, and they said, well, if you'll call Bill, he'll help you navigate it. So, and it's not Chad's district; it's a total different district that adjoins here, and I'm gonna go meet with him and help him because I enjoy doing that.
Okay, Bob.
I just appreciate you being here. Like I said, I want everybody to the Rotary Club meeting. You're going to be there at 12 noon. Always a good lunch, so looking forward to the meal.
Yeah, one other thing, just because it's a big issue and it's just come under attack. I mentioned that I'm on the public safety, and we have a lot of bills that come, trying to ban assault rifles or whatever. I've got a 100% A+ record from the NRA, and not only that, I'm the only candidate endorsed by the National Rifle Association, and they do their homework. That endorsement does not come lightly, so I'm very appreciative of that, as well as the Georgia Right to Life.
Okay. All right. State Representative Bill Werkheiser here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. Bill's going to be around town today, including being at the Rotary meeting today at 12 noon at Sybil's. Bill, have a safe day out there. All right. World-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Also brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear and by Jesup Premium Storage. It's 8:30. We're going to be giving away a $20 gift card to Gooey's Pizza in a little bit. But right now, we're going to take a quick break and listen to the latest news from ABC Radio.